So we got our trees on the ground, now it's time to begin limbing. First we'll talk about how we need to plan our work. We're also going to talk about some of the do's and don'ts when using your chainsaw, as well as some of the hazards that you need to be on the lookout for. As we begin to work with this tree, we're going to be removing some limbs and then eventually bucking the tree up into firewood. Every time we remove a piece of the tree, whether it's a limb or a piece of the trunk, the weight of the tree will change and you can usually count on some movement of the tree. You will need to carefully plan on how and when you will remove the limbs, and where you will position yourself when you do so in order to be in a safe position as the tree moves or shifts.
When we're cutting our tree, there are some hazards that we need to look out for. First, reactive forces. There are 3 types of reactive forces: pushback, pull in, and kickback. Pushback can occur when you are cutting wood with the top of the bar and it becomes pinched in the cut. The reaction of this can cause the saw to drive backwards very rapidly towards the operator and may cause loss of control.
Pulling can occur when you're cutting wood and the bar and the chain become pinched in the cut. The reaction of this can cause the saw to pull forward and may cause the operator to lose control.
Kickback can occur when the moving saw chain near the upper quadrant of the bar nose contacts a solid object or is pinched as shown in this diagram. Always use caution and be aware of where the tip of the bar is at all times.
Spring pulls can present a very dangerous situation. Cutting this can cause the sapling or limb to spring backwards towards the operator and cause loss of control of the saw and severe or fatal injury to the operator. One way to cut these is to make a series of shallow cuts at the apex of the tension as we are doing here. These shallow cuts will gradually relieve the tension of the wood and eventually allow you to cut the wood, reducing the chances that it will spring backwards. When you're moving around a work area, always carry your chainsaw with the bar pointed rearward and the chain brake engaged. Even between cuts, when you have to reposition yourself, you should engage the chain brake. Never let your partner or other workers in the area get close to your work. They need to stay at a safe distance. Develop a set of hand signals that you can utilize to communicate briefly with these people. And never allow anyone to support the wood that you're working on. This could cause the chainsaw to pinch in the cut and result in a kickback that you or your partner could become hurt. Always have them wait until you are done working in the area before entering. And when you're using the chainsaw, always stand to the left side of the saw in a way that your body is clear of the cutting attachment.
Whenever you are using your chainsaw, make sure you have a firm grip on the machine. You should always hold the forward handle with your left hand, thumbs and fingers fully wrapped around the handle, and hold the rear handle with your right hand, again fully wrapping your fingers around the handle. Hold the saw in this manner regardless if you are right-handed or left-handed. A few other items you'll need to know when working on your tree. Engage the spikes on the front of your chainsaw with the wood you are cutting whenever possible. This can help you better control the saw in the cut and can also help in avoiding the reactive force pull in. And always begin your cuts with the chainsaw at wide open throttle before entering the wood and throughout the cut. When bucking the tree, be careful that the wood does not collapse on your cut and pinch the bar. If this happens, turn off your chainsaw and find a way to remove it from the pinched cut. One way to avoid this is to use your wedges to hold the cut open, allowing you to finish your cut through the wood. A technique you can use when cutting limbs is to first make a bottom cut partially through the limb, then make a top cut to release the limb. If the limb is under pressure and wants to move upwards, do just the opposite and start your cut from the top, cutting partially through the wood, and then finish the cut from the bottom. When you're bucking up wood that is lying on the ground, you want to take care never to let your chain come into contact with the ground. A rotating chain can become dull if it comes into contact with the ground for only an instant. In this case, we will cut our log into the desired lengths by making a series of cuts, but never completely cutting through the wood to avoid having the chain come into contact with the ground. Then, roll the log over 180 degrees and cut down, meeting your previous cuts to release the log.
We'll start our work from the base of the tree, removing limbs but not the ones supporting the tree on the bottom. After we cut these limbs, we will engage the chain brake and remove the limbs to keep the immediate area clear to work in. Once we have reached the top of the tree and removed the limbs, we will begin our bucking cuts moving towards the base of the tree. When we reach a limb we have left that is supporting the tree, we need to begin carefully removing these limbs. Plan this work carefully. They will be under a lot of pressure, and you can see that we are beginning our cuts a little further out to see how the tree is going to react. Continue removing the limbs according to your plan until the tree safely comes to rest on the ground. Then we will continue bucking the tree to complete the job.